what we're thinking. While we're making love, oh, listen, my sweetie, they're jealous. They're the uses of kisses, more than I can explain. But when I'm walking with my sweetness, down among the sugar, down among the sugar, I said down among the sugar cane.
They say there's nothing quite like a cane burn in the still light of dusk. It's winter. The wind has settled. It's time. The torches are lit. The planters' faces glow in a ritual handed down father to son for more than a century. Then the fire strikes, drawing a spectacular wall of flame up into the night sky. As suddenly as it erupted, this awesome spectacle fades. All that remains is the warm, red glow of the burning cane and the splendid, pungent aroma of sugar. This is cane country, the home of Bundaberg Rum. Bundaberg's history is as intriguing as the Bundy rum distilling process itself. Bundaberg, first settled in the 1860s, was producing sugar commercially by 1872, and by the early 1880s boasted 24 crushing mills. This was boom time, with much of the growth assisted by the import of South Sea Islander labourers known as Kanakas. There are still many colourful stories of ruthless sea captains capturing their recruits by force, but most of the Kanakas were eager to be employed, as they could earn around £14 a year plus their keep. By the mid-1880s, the large mills prospered, but the sugarmen had a problem. What to do with the thick, black, heavy waste molasses after the sugar had been extracted? It was difficult to transport, and the cost of converting it to stock feed was hardly worth the effort. However, it could be turned into rum, and turned into rum it was. In 1888, the Bundaberg Distilling Company was incorporated. Now, over 100 years and 2 world wars later, through a horrendous factory fire and crippling seasonal droughts, Bundaberg Rum has well and truly earned the coveted title of the famous Aussie Spirit. From July to November, it's cane harvest time in Bundaberg. But this is when the sugar content in the cane is at its peak. After the burn that removes all the unwanted leaf, these giant harvesters move in to cut and chop the cane. Then it's off to the mill. Time is now important to ensure the sugar content remains high. So the cane trains play an important role in getting the cane to the mill on time. From the moment the cane bins are weighed and tipped, sophisticated control systems help to manage the production process in the sugar mill. Heavy rollers at high pressure extract the juice containing the sugar. This juice is purified, then evaporated to concentrate it as a thick syrup. Sugar is then crystallized and separated from the syrup using centrifuges that act like giant spin dryers. The remaining liquid is a thick black substance called molasses. This black gold is the raw material from which the distillery creates the famous Bundaberg rum. The energy for this part of the milling process and for the rum manufacturing itself is steam, generated in large boilers using the residual sugarcane fibre, or the gas as it's known, as fuel. So the entire process is energy self-sufficient. Mill and distillery wastes are also recycled back to the land, either as irrigation, low-cost fertiliser, or soil conditioner. As the sugar mill operates only during the harvesting season, molasses is stored in large wells for year-round operation. Now the distilling process begins. First, the molasses is purified with heat and recycled acid water to remove any inorganic impurities. Then, water is added, together with the distillery's own pure yeast strain, the active ingredient in the fermentation process. Yeast is a living microorganism that is grown daily under laboratory-controlled conditions. A tiny test tube culture that buds and doubles its cells every few hours. When the specially prepared yeast solution is combined with diluted molasses, it's pumped into giant fermenting tanks where the action really begins. Enzymes in the yeast convert sugar from molasses into alcohol and carbon dioxide, which causes the bubbling on the liquid surface. As well as alcohol, the yeast produces other compounds which contribute to the marvelous characteristic flavor of Bundy rum. After about 30 hours of fermentation, the mixture is pumped into the still house and to the top of a continuous distillation wash column. High-pressure steam is fed in at the bottom of the wash column and contacts the liquid as it seeps down through level after level of horizontal trays. A steady stream of alcohol vapor emerges from the top of the column and is condensed into a liquid called low wines. This is stored in a receiver till there is sufficient volume to be transferred into the pot stills. At the pot stills, which act like giant kettles, steam is applied once more, and the resulting vapor this time is very carefully monitored as it is condensed back to liquid form. As the temperature, density and composition of the liquid at this stage are critical to the quality and flavor of the final rum. The distiller's time-honored art is evident at this particular stage, as he chooses what is called the heart cut of a particular stream of product which will go on to become raw rum at a strength of about 78% alcohol. Nowadays, the distiller has a computer control system to help him in this exacting operation. From the raw rum receiver, the water-clear liquid is transferred to huge maturing vats, where it is gradually converted over time to the smooth, famous Aussie spirit, Bundaberg rum. There are over 150 of these specially constructed vats at the Bundaberg distillery, all made by expert tradesmen called coopers from very carefully selected American white oak. Each 60,000-litre storage vat requires 6 tons of this beautiful timber, and they're made to perfection. For they will play host for over 2 years to this legendary spirit as it matures and comes of age. These handsome vats are housed in specially constructed bond stores, designed to keep temperature fluctuations to a minimum and maintain just the right atmospheric conditions for the aging rum. As the spirit reaches maturity, every drop is tested with sophisticated instruments and by our own expert tasting panel to ensure that both taste and aroma are developing exactly the way they should be. And when our seasoned experts give their final nod of approval, the famous Aussie spirit is mixed to the right strength with very pure water and pumped through a fine porous filter to be filled in sparkling clear bottles, capped, then labelled and packed, ready for delivery to customers all round Australia and round the world. It's not just the superb Bundaberg climate, the rich volcanic soil, the sun, the cutters, the coopers, the distiller's art. It's the blend of traditional skills, natural science and technology, all coming together to produce the famous Aussie spirit, Bundaberg rum. So let's all toast the cutters and all the Aussie crew who carry on tradition and make the Aussie brew. So let's all charge our glasses, a toast of things to come, to the spirit of Australia, the famous Bundy Rum. To the spirit of Australia, the famous Bundy Rum.